We're live now. It's past 8:00. Doesn't have to be perfect when we start out. Just has to be perfect when we end. Let me turn down the baseball game in the background here.
Is Andrea coming?
Andrea should be coming, but she's even later than me. Believe it or not.
Okay.
I'll run things.
Yeah.
I've heard hello from you, Mitch. How you doing tonight? How you doing, Mal Pal?
I'm good, thank you. How
I
are
hear
you?
some music in the background. Could that be Adam? Hello, Adam. Nope, nothing from Adam.
I only have 2 words to say, Doug.
What's those 2 words?
Akil Badu.
It is Akil Badu's world. We just live in it. We've been talking about him for a couple weeks now.
Grand Slam home run today. 2 home runs in his first 2 games. Rule 5. What's not to like? Young kid from Silver Spring, Maryland. There's no way this should be happening.
From Maryland?
He's Silver Spring. Yep.
Or
by way of Nigeria, probably.
I know he played.
What's that?
I know he played high school ball at in Conyers, Georgia, when I lived up there.
Oh, really?
I didn't know that when I lived there. Somebody told me when I was talking about him that he was over there in Conyers.
I managed to get him in a waiver wire pickup for $9.
I'll tell you this much. I picked him a couple weeks ago, and I think I said that everyone here has heard it before. I picked him 448th in a draft of 450 people on NFBC, and he had no position eligibility. So I petitioned him to get outfield eligibility. So if you're on NFBC and you have outfield eligibility, you have me to thank. That sounds like some noise from Adam.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
I literally have to hold the cord into my computer because it's bent. So if I go in and out, that's why.
They got a short, do you think, Adam?
What's that?
Do you think there's a short in the cord? If you're holding it, there's probably a short in the cord.
Maybe. I don't even know what that would be, but it's like bent off of the coating. See how it goes.
Adam is a podcaster friend of mine, and we're in the same league in the TFG BCI. And I sort of reached out to him to say, hey, I like what you do, even though no one listens to it. Would you like to be not listened to with me on my show? And he said, maybe. And we talked, and we seemed to hit it off. And if he's relatively new to podcasting, I mean, he's a little newer than I am. And you got to realize that technical difficulties are part of the game. We're all going to have them, and it's how we deal with them. And that's one of the reasons why we do everything here live. There's another reason I won't get into, but if you do things live and the tech screws up on you, it's just life. If you do things recorded and the tech screws up on you, it's your fault for not correcting it before you released it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's true.
So it saves you a lot of time.
Built-in excuse.
And the tech is always going to.
How do you like my hat?
There you go.
This is a real quick thing.
Riding a winner, huh?
I'm going to go through all 30 hats. I got to be right sooner or later. I can't strike out every week.
The Orioles hat over the weekend, I'm sure.
Break up the Orioles.
It's just for Adam's benefit. Melpal and Mitch are grade A listeners to the Melnick Network who agreed to join us this year on the Roundtable, because the truth is a lot of people have a lot of good stuff to say, and these are some nice folks. Just so you know who they are. The Melnick Network has about 400 registered users, about 25 super users that are on all time, another 25 that are on a lot of the time, and then there's the other guys that listen to the podcast or come in once in a while that make up the rest of the group. But Melpal and Mitch they're hardliners. They're good folk.
Happy to be with you.
Always have an opinion. It's hardly right, but whatever.
Well, I mean, that's the thing. When we're at our best, it's when, and this is part of what, like Adam actually, Adam on his podcast, which is called Fantasy Baseball Disrupt, and it said on that after his first episode, he said, "Here's my ideas. Please email me. Tell me where I'm wrong. Poke holes in my thing."
Yes, sir.
Because fantasy stuff is at its best not when we tell the listener what to do, but when we give them all the information they need to make the decision themselves. So it's great to have opposing opinions.
Absolutely.
And so that was it. So that's how we met him. And we go through things. I was gonna, the first 5 or so minutes, we always kind of do almost nothing, just to allow people to show up in the chat room, and to allow Andy to show up. I don't know what's up with her. Let's see here, dude. She said she'll be there in 1 minute. Okay, we are on. Anyway, I'll let her in when we get here because I have all the controls. So I guess we could go to the outline here. What's first up on the outline? I know that we started with the first thing on here. I don't want to talk about until she gets here. Just anything you've seen in the last 3 days that you want to talk about. There's been a lot of kind of odd occurrences.
Well, Andrea called me crazy for saying Michael A. Taylor is going to go 2020. I stand by my prediction. Michael A. Taylor never got a chance in D.C. Not one time.
He got plenty
to play every day. No, he didn't. He was getting up. He was bouncing around like a ping pong ball.
3 years ago, on day 11 of the season, Adam Eaton broke his knee and was out for the season. And there you go. Here, Michael Taylor, take this spot.
That's true.
Michael Taylor got the spot, and he went on to bet like 111 over 16 or 20 games, and they kind of moved on.
He hit 20 home runs 1 year for the Nats.
He did hit 20 home runs 1 year for the Nats. I think he's better than he is. I mean, the truth is, I did make a claim for him in one of my leagues. I did not get him. I didn't put a big claim. It was I claimed I put in $9 out of 100 on both he and Isbell because I thought I did not know the extent of Ramil Tapia's injury. I guess that we could talk about a little bit the injuries that aren't on here.
Right.
But Tapia apparently ran into the wall and got whiplash, which is kind of like a concussion for your neck. You jar your neck too much.
That's not good. What about Isbell? I don't know anything about him, but they're raving about him in KC.
Kyle Isbell is a guy that I liked in my dynasty league. I had him. I'm lamenting that because eventually he sort of disappeared because last year 5 teams voted not to play, so we sort of didn't play, and we weren't able to get all 16 teams back.
Understand.
Here. So, but he is one of those guys with great bat to ball skills, and he's got enough speed. He is a converted infielder, so there's some question about whether he's going to be a top flight outfielder. But I would say that he's in a good spot for him because he hits to all fields. Kauffman Stadium is that kind of stadium, and if you're looking at the kind of production you got out of left field from Alex Gordon, I don't see any reason why you wouldn't get more from Kyle Isbell. Now, I mean, we're not talking about Juan Soto. We're talking about a guy that could hit you 295. There's a little bit a question of whether the power is there yet or whether he has to develop into it. But you're looking at a guy that could steal 10 bases, hit 12 home runs right now. And there's a good number of people who get better at hitting home runs when they go to the major leagues for some reason. It just
the higher velocity, if they make good contact, the advanced velocity, if you put the barrel on the ball in the major leagues, you're very likely to pop that ball out of the park.
I would Isbell?
Yeah, I would rather have Isbell on my team than his they got 3 outfielders there. I would rank them Isbell, Taylor, Benintendi, the direction I'd want them because I'm not. And that tells you something. None of them are world beaters, but they're all could be your number 5 outfielder and a 5 outfielder leave. You got something, Adam, to say?
No. Can you hear me?
Yeah. That's good enough. We can hear Adam every now and then. we just brought him in for eye candy.
No, my hand just hurts because I gotta hold the cord in.
Well, it's like you can
just hold it in when you're ready to speak.
Well, I can't hear you if I don't do it. So.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah, that'll be good. My great uncle, the guy that was my confirmation sponsor, my uncle Chucky, he went to the big war, and he was in the army or whatever. And when they were flying on a transport going overseas, they got shot several times, and so he got a Congressional Medal of Honor for hanging over the side of the plane and holding a tube together to keep the gas line in place.
Oh my goodness!
So just think of him when you're holding your little thing there.
Same thing.
Yeah, same thing.
You got to have people around willing to do that.
For me, yeah, maybe.
She wanted to
Think
start
about
with the.
Isbell, Mitch.
Yep.
What's that?
Go ahead.
You said a thing about
I was
Isbell?
just going to comment on Isbell.
Oh, okay.
Is he was moving up the, as I understand, I mean, he's young. He was moving up the ranks in their farm system. He didn't play last year at all. In 2019 is kind of deceiving.
Yeah, he was a little hurt
stat
last
line because he broke his wrist in 19,
Yeah.
so he never really had a full year. So it's quite a jump. I mean, there's always that 1 in 50 guy that comes up really and makes his mark. But I kind of agree with Douglas that it's gonna be. He'll probably help you out, a fifth outfielder in a mixed league, maybe. If I see it, I think he's a good player in a only league. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
I expect him to contribute some stolen bases, but I think he's actually going to have a good average. That's the thing I think he's going to have. He's in that mold of good bat to ball skill players. There's another one of those guys that actually is debuting tonight on Ryan McKenna is debuting for the Baltimore Orioles. One of you guys are an Oriole fan? I can't remember. Somebody was, but he's one of those bat to ball guys.
Fan.
He had on the early side of his minor league career, he actually hit 377 in A ball, and was invited to the Futures game. Played there, nothing special. Had a couple down years, but he's playing right field for him today. Those are guys that I consider similar type players. Like Isbell more than McKenna, but McKenna is a guy that could probably help you in average. McKenna is really fast, though. That's a big difference. He can steal you 25 bases. That's one big thing about him.
Yeah, I had to put Austin Hayes on my AO only, along with like half my team on the DL today.
Really?
And instead of I flipped a coin McKenna, but I went for Jordan Luplow just because he's a little more established. Although he's not, he is Jordan Luplow. But
Jordan Luplow is a guy that
kind of
really he kills lefties and can't hit righties. That's
a tough year on Hayes, Malpal. He was off to a good start too.
He's the kind of guy that you would Luplow is the kind of guy that you have to look at what they're playing for the week, make sure they got enough lefties in the week.
Andrea says she's here.
Andrea says she's here. Oh, there she is. She's down there a little bit.
Yeah.
We haven't had 5 in a while.
Well, you got 4.5 anyway.
Hi,
there we are,
guys.
number 5. Welcome to the show, Andrea.
So just a bunch of excuses, about why I'm late. I had to restart my computer, and then, of course, it won't recognize any of my equipment, like my headphones or my camera. So now I'm on Lenny's computer downstairs. So thanks for waiting or having
I had technical problems, too. Right now, Adam is currently experiencing technical problems, so that's just what we do.
Hey, Adam's the only one that even acknowledged me, okay? So thank you,
You know what happened was, thank God for that, because what happened was because there was 5 people, you're like, it has like a strip of who I can let in, and you're on the second rung, so you're underneath the work bar.
Yeah, I never saw you.
Yeah, I didn't see you, so I'll look for that in the future when we get to 5 as we're learning.
No problem, dude.
I was mutiny, Andrea. I was mutiny. I was taking over. We were going to take this ship to Cuba.
Okay, so let's talk about what we saw this weekend. I mean, I heard you guys talking. I was like telling George they won't let me in. I was telling, I'm like wandering around the web like how to get in. Okay, but we have a new. Yes, Adam, nice to meet you and have you on our roundtable with us. I was listening to your show the other day. Like I listened to a couple random ones, but I really liked your idea of picking up players that you are trying to replace injured players with, so like just stopgap players, whatever. Try and pick these guys up that not guys that have batting average, because that's really not going to do anything for you in the overall big picture, but like counting stats, really.
Yeah, more targeted areas. That must have been from last year, huh?
I don't know. It was just a unique title. One of them had like a unique title, and it was not that long, so I put it on,
Right. It's really whenever I don't do rankings, I don't do, I just kind of look for, what isn't being used, what isn't being exploited. And then if it's an idea and it pops into my head for 5 minutes, I do it. So
Well, I don't know how many fans you got out there, Adam, but you got 2 now here.
There it is. And my best friend who's in New York, so 3.
Yeah, that's it starts out. I always tell people when you're starting out the podcast, like, there's no reason why you shouldn't have at least 11 listeners, because you're playing in a league with 12 people, right?
Yeah.
They should want to know what you're thinking.
Yeah, that's true.
You know,
I think.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Go ahead. No,
I was going to say, I think there are enough egos that they don't want to, win, even if it were from someone else's opinion.
that's why I met you, because I actually went through everybody in that league and said, I know him, I know him, I know him. Who's this guy? To listen to what they have.
I'm that guy.
You're that guy.
Hey, Mitchell.
Yes,
Hey, you guys, did you see what happened in the St. Louis and Cincinnati brawl?
I
that
did.
happened?
I
It was,
I looked
not
at
a
the
brawl,
video.
But
Yeah.
what? So you looked at the videos I put in the rundown, or what?
Well, I looked at both the videos, and these brawls are they're going to happen. But Castellanos showed his ass. Okay, I've never seen such hot dogging it in my life when you hit a friggin' home run. I mean, it was ridiculous.
Oh, so you
He
do
was jumping up and down. It was ridiculous.
but do you think that he was hit on purpose the next day?
I think he was. Yeah, I absolutely I do. But he showed his ass. This is baseball. You can't get away with that crap.
What do you wait? So you can't.
Did
get away
you
with
see what he did when he hit the ball?
When he threw his
He
bat?
jumping jump jacks. I think he might have done a full somersault. It was ridiculous.
So you're not allowed to get happy when you hit a home run.
There's a limit to everything. He embarrassed. We all know. I think they're stupid. All these rules are stupid.
So
But let me tell you something about Yadi or Molina.
love him.
I would rather fight the biggest sumo wrestler in Japan to take on Yadi Molina. That guy's one tough dude.
So
And when you tick that guy off, I don't think he is a firecracker. I don't think he goes off that quickly. But man, when you tick off Yadi or Molina, you're in trouble. He could come after you.
So do you think it's justified then that that's just how baseball works, that a pitcher should be able to throw into a hitter because of the fact that they like?
No, I don't believe in throwing at hitters at all. If they're going to suspend Castellanos, they should have suspended the pitcher that threw at him.
So, but okay, Adam, what's your take on what happened this weekend? Yeah.
I didn't see it, but my favorite pitcher of all time is Pedro Martinez, and I hated that he threw at people's heads. I don't know if this was near the head, but you could still injure people. I hate that because they don't know it's coming, or they might know it's coming, but they're basically defenseless. Not that they're looking the other way. So I was trying to think of the equivalent, because you see guys trying to think of the Red Sox like Josh Beckett or Kurt Schilling. They're pretty demonstrative when they get a strikeout or whatever. What if a guy on first base during his windup starts and charges him right in the middle of his, you know what I mean? It's kind of a sucker move, I think.
So this one was 93 miles an hour right into the shoulder. But mind you, okay, Castellanos got on base because he got hit. And then Votto came up and hit a double. He ended up on third base. And then the pitcher throws a wild pitch, completely gets out of Yadi's hands. And that's when Castellanos decided to run home.
And he had the right to do that.
And he he got up and he was like, come on, like that. But he didn't. I don't feel like he was threatening in any way. And he was confrontational.
He was confrontational, and he was a horse's pursuit. He was making it all about him, But I would have suspended the pitcher. The pitcher did throw at him, as far as I'm concerned.
Well, Yadi said that the pitcher did not throw at him on purpose.
Well, I disagree with Molina.
He had a wild pitch right after that. It kind of tells me that maybe the guy just doesn't have a lot of control of the ball. Malpal, what do you think?
I think suspending Castellanos is complete BS. So, I mean, baseball is just. This is where I disagree with them so much. To me, it was an obvious hit. They'll never admit, an obvious hit him on purpose. And who cares if the guy does a bat flip the circles on a lid at first base? I mean, who cares? I mean, who cares? Every team does it. Every team has a guy that does it. They
But
need to
should he
go
throw
in their
90?
own clubhouse and look in the mirror.
Why
Yeah,
would he throw
It's
93?
just part of the
though?
game. Have fun. What's
If you're
that?
gonna plunk somebody, can't you just plunk a guy like at 75 or something? You can't have to plunk him at 93, Douglas.
I always feel bad about talking about these things because my heart says my heart says you shouldn't do this stuff, but I played baseball in through high school, and I was a catcher, and I called for at least 100 different guys to get hit by a pitch in my life, and I feel like I would be somewhat what's the word, hypocritical to really come down on it. I don't really have a problem with taking, as a guy that served many suspensions in his life, yeah, you do your thing, you take your penalty, and you move on, right? So I think that the problem really is because that hitting the batter is actually part of the game. It's not a part we like, but having an all-out brawl is not part of the game. That the penalty went to the right person. It's the guy that started the fight.
I do not think that that's true because Castellanos did Go ahead.
Who started the fight?
Castellanos was walking away back to the dugout, and Yachty came up behind him and grabbed him, and then that's when all the But Castellanos and Yachty talked about it after. But there were the fact that there was a brawl to begin with, there was. I just don't think that Castellanos deserved to be suspended at all. But
I agree. I agree 1,000%.
Thing happened. Castellanos was talking after the post game interview, and he was talking about Yachty. He was like, "That guy could punch me in the face, and I would still want him to sign a jersey for me."
Exactly.
Like,
yeah, they're still friends. They're still good enough with each other. It doesn't really matter, and that's. I think that the one thing I'll say is that baseball is better when people are talking about baseball.
For sure.
So I guess they need stuff like this because it'll get people talking.
Okay, well, Castellanos was talking. I mean, this guy is a competitor to the max. He was like, he goes, "I've been losing my whole career. I'm ready to win, yo. I'm just ready to win. I don't want to start the season off 0-3. I think they did win that game, but okay, moving on. So that was the news of the day. You guys got any other news?
Yeah, I got a bunch of stuff, but it fits under the other categories you got on the agenda.
So let's talk about the players that you guys were surprised to see in the lineup. Mitchell, you can go first. Or players that you were surprised to see out of the lineup.
Well, Andrew Vaughn was out. After they've been saying for weeks he was going to start.
I thought he was playing center field.
Or left field.
No, he was out of the lineup Saturday or Sunday.
There was some weird stuff like that because they gave Mookie Betts a day off and they gave Corey Seager a day off already. I'm gonna go look up their lineup for the week.
Isn't it crazy?
And then you had all this talk about Nick Senzel's going to set the world on fire, and damn Tyler Naquin's about to take his freaking job away from him.
Well, he's hurt, but you shouldn't. Yeah,
Senzel's hurt again.
Yeah, he's.
He's more injury prone than an 85-year-old white woman.
I think he has a sickness. He has a non-COVID illness.
That guy's always got something.
Hey Mitchell, what about your friend Michael A. Failure?
I told you Taylor was going to be good.
I know.
They're going to let him play. He's in the Midwest. He's not in the East Coast. And you asked about news. I did read about the new Russian torpedo they've stationed in the North Atlantic.
No, I'm talking about baseball news.
One single torpedo can reportedly take out the entire east coast of the United States that they planted in the North Atlantic. Huh?
When did they plant this? Okay.
They've been doing stuff in the North Atlantic for a while.
When did they plant the torpedo down there that they found?
What's that?
When was the torpedo put down there?
I don't know when, but they've been working on this for a while. Apparently, it's operational.
Nice. Okay, great. So
just an update on Andrew Vaughn. Andrew Vaughn did not start opening day. He also did not start Sunday. On Sunday, you know who started left field in his place? No. Talk about surprising names. Billy Hamilton.
For real, dude.
The crazy thing is that Luis Robert is the center fielder, so they think Robert's a better fielder than Hamilton. But yeah, so I mean, Vaughn's back lineup tonight, so it's 3 out of 5 nights. You know.
You guys talking about Andrew Vaughn?
Yeah.
Yes.
Great time for my tech to work. Yeah, I was pretty pumped about him, whether he would start the season, with a major league deal, but they had him on the roster anyway. I thought he was definitely going to start every day with Eloy out, and I thought he would be a steal because, I don't know, I was getting him after 200, and granted in redraft leagues, but yep. I was a little disappointed that he didn't start every game, or that he hasn't. But.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing. It's like I will say this for the third time this year, and one of 200 times. It's like anything is possible. Most of it bad when Tony La Russa is your manager.
Thank you.
Oh, that's not nice.
I miss that.
It does just all sorts of weird things over there. He's playing while everyone else. They say like sometimes like he's playing chess when other people are playing checkers. It's like he's playing chess while other people are playing baseball.
Malpal, what'd you see?
Well, I thought. Did anyone really? I know Mercedes has got hot, but did anyone even think about him?
No.
I never heard him.
I brought him up. I brought him up on my show this weekend. But the idea was, in most leagues, he has no position eligibility. If he was a catcher, he'd have some value.
Wait, does he not qualify at catcher?
Right.
He doesn't.
He wasn't.
He doesn't CBS because I tried to get him.
What happened with him is last year he got called up. He played one game. He pinch hit one time, so he has no position. If you listen to my show, that was my last rant was about how does somebody have no position?
But where did he play last year in the minors?
He played in his minors. He's played nothing but catcher.
Okay, then he should qualify.
I mean, maybe he played a DH once in a while, but he was a catcher. His minor league stuff doesn't show he's gonna be that great. It does look like there's a chance he could be a 300-ish hitter. He's not a big, powerful guy. No catchers have speed, but a catcher that hits 285 with 12 home runs is going to be someone that's in discussion in fantasy. But a utility player that hits 285 with 12 home runs with only 382 at bats is nothing.
Where did he come from? Because I don't see any stat. Oh, I do see some minor league stats here.
Well, you got to remember, you didn't have minor league baseball last year.
Yeah. But
He's actually been around for a while. He's like 28 or 29.
He's 28. I had a guy pay $21 for him in one of my 15-team leagues, which is preposterous.
Based on what?
Oh well, it's speculation, Adam. That's all.
My point in bringing him.
See, the worst thing is that even if you're
bringing him up in this.
Go ahead.
Malpal.
I was just going to say my point in bringing him up in this category in this discussion right now is, unless I'm kind of curious, did I miss something? Because wasn't it the line given in the industry and by the White Sox is that it was going to be Vaughn in left, Collins as the DH, and Abreu at first. No one ever talked about this guy.
I actually, there's reason to like Collins. He can be one of those guys. Collins, if he's a full-time DH because of the Jimenez injury, he could hit 20 home runs. He could also hit 220, 210, but he's got that kind of power. The Mercedes thing is weird.
The Mercedes thing, I do not see him behind the plate much, but I mean, if he qualifies at catcher, which he should in most leagues, I just don't see him playing behind the plate because I heard
that is the problem. Is like you need 10 games to qualify. Grandal will catch most of them, and neither of them are that great at catchers, and they need 10 games to qualify. They'll probably qualify for catchers sometime in August.
Why didn't he start off as catcher eligible?
Because of the weird rules in baseball that it's like there's no other sport where a guy just doesn't have a position. Like you don't have if you play fantasy football, what does he play? Oh, he's offense.
Okay, but so it depends on what website you're playing at. That's what I'm getting. Because Mitchell said that somebody that it is at CBS, he qualifies as a catcher.
Yes, because I had him on my waiver pickup list in 2 CBS leagues. He's qualified as catcher in CBS.
He doesn't qualify in NFBC. I know that. That's my deep league. Whereas
they're all different, Doug. Yeah,
I play on Yahoo.
But Doug's point is nonetheless valid. If you're putting him in DH or utility, he's not going to put up the numbers to warrant utility.
But he could be a reasonable catcher in a catcher league.
As a catcher, yeah. As a catcher, I'm all in. Yeah.
Especially a 2-catcher league.
Okay.
Right. I got another
Or
We
surprise.
went for
Did
$187 in Fab.
In 1,000
he?
Fab, he
Wow.
went for a lot of
Yeah,
money.
went for 187.
That's 20% of the annual Fab budget. That's ridiculous.
Okay, so the was. Um,
I bid
well,
like
I can
$7.
tell you what I noticed.
Little short.
I'm cutting out. Hey,
Yeah, I can hear you.
me?
It seems like your face is freezing from time to time. Like you're motionless, you know. But other than that,
Yeah.
I'm trying to think. Like, if I got one of these here, like, you know, one that bothered me is like I tend to. We're talking about catchers. I tend to pick catchers really, really late, and I was sort of drafting Elias Diaz everywhere. It looks like the Colorado Rockies are playing a strict platoon with Elias Diaz on the weak side of it. So maybe Dom Nunez is a guy you need to pick up. That was one that came out to me.
Diaz with Houston. Are we talking about the same guy?
No, we're talking about the Colorado catcher.
Oh, the catcher. Okay.
I'm shocked that Jed Lowry is playing second base for the A's, and I'm pleased to report that he's played 3 consecutive games without being injured. Yu Chang, on playing first base for the Indians. I think he was one of their top shortstop prospects. Was going to be the guy to eventually replace Lindor, I guess, and then they traded for 2 guys and they moved him to first. I think there's actually something there. May not see it this year, but down the road a bit. He can put bat to ball. He's not a power hitter, but he's a hitter. And everybody's disappearing around on me.
Yellow.
Hello.
I'm here.
Oh, how about the San Francisco Giants, which might be a pretty
Is
good
anyone-
team batting wise.
Go ahead, Doug.
San Francisco might be a pretty good hitting team, and I was sort of expecting Tommy La Stella to do something for them. And in their first 4 games, Tommy La Stella has only started 1 time, and that was as DH when they were playing Seattle. So there's they don't really have a spot for him. It almost looks like.
But when they acquired him, Doug, why are they replacing Solano?
No, it was like he was replacing Longoria, is what they thought, but Longoria got healthy and actually is hitting to start the season, and that's the big difference. Like,
Okay.
I think they decided to start Longoria game 1 because sometimes you do things on opening day you wouldn't do in the rest of the season because you want you want the players on the field that the fans want to see.
Right.
But he actually had a home run that game, had a home run the next game.
Longoria is having a. Yeah,
Who?
It's like the reincarnation of Evan Longoria.
Yeah, I almost. I know one of the things we were going to talk about was picking up players. I almost picked up Longoria in the league where I needed to replace Donaldson, who got injured. But I went with Colin Moran on Yahoo because he's got third base eligibility, and I think he's kind of a sneaky third home run guy that no one talks about. I mean, he hit his second home run today. But
Yeah,
I did consider Longoria.
I mean, Longoria didn't even play in the spring, so it's interesting.
Yeah, that was it too.
Coming out
Like
hot.
the expectation was that Longoria would at least take a few weeks to get into the lineup, but it didn't happen. Any other surprises you guys got?
And should I be surprised that Hector Neris seems to be the closer in Philly? That was such a.
I don't think so. It's like that closer situation, as many, is so fluid that if you had said Bradley was the closer, or you had said that Neris was the closer, or you had said there's another name I can't remember what it was, the other guy was the closer, none of them should come as a shock. It's just like where you. And I mean, I find like when I'm picking in those spots, I tend to be picking players that I can get to versus the guy that I actually want. You know, so maybe you had Neris because he was your second choice because somebody already got Bradley and you got lucky.
Yeah.
Like this weekend, in the 15 team league that I'm in, I needed to replace Jose Leclerc. I needed to put a bid on somebody as a closer, and a number of closers came available, and I bid on a bunch, and somehow I got a bunch of them. I got 3 instead of 1, but it's like I don't know who the guy's going to be. I mean, I wound up getting Chris Davinsky, I wound up getting Ian Kennedy, and I wound up getting Cesar Valdez. I believe Cesar Valdez is the closer in Baltimore, but somebody bid $200 on Julian Merriweather. You know, Who
Well, Doug, Valdez is a placeholder, I believe. That's why I didn't bid on him. When
placeholder for who?
Hunter Harvey. When Hunter Harvey comes back, he'll get the closer gig, I think. What do you think, Malpal? You're an Orioles fan.
I'll believe Hunter Harvey will be back and pitch in more than 5 games when I see it.
Yeah. Injury prone.
He's got talent, but that guy's been injured for A1 he ever signed as a pro, it seems.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. So Valdez might end up being a good cheap pickup for a closer.
I got him for $30 and 1,000.
That's reasonable.
The next lowest pick was 22, so I only overspent by 8.
Do you guys see in your FAB report what other people bid? I don't get that. All I get is, did I win the bid or not? I never know. Some of these places tell you what all the bids were.
Yeah, some do. The one I'm on, it just tells me what the next bid was.
Oh, is that right? Yeah.
You know, so and of course you know what your bid
It doesn't
is.
make any difference. What difference does it make? But it just, I got CJ Crone for $16. I was shocked. I just threw him in about 10 minutes to midnight. I had Miguel Franco at 14.
My highest bid was a guy that no one else bid on. I bid $85, which is $8.50 on 100, on Chris Owings of the Rockies, and no one else bid on him.
Chris Owings is not a horrible player. He's just
I think that
not coming back.
I think that's one of those shocking things is that the Rockies have played 4 games, and Chris Owings has started 2 at second base, started 1 at center field, and the other game he actually came in and played left. So he's actually played. He's played 2 games in the outfield, 2 games in the infield, and we look at that Rockies team. We see all these guys on it, like Brendan Rodgers and Garrett Hampson and Sam Hilliard, and we hope against Ryan McMahon, and we hope that they're going to do something. I mean, I think that Blackman is solid. I think that Story is solid. I think Crone is solid. But after that, a veteran hand like Owings is there, and he's already got 2 stolen bases. They're going to run. He can run. He can play a number of spots, and before too long, he'll be eligible as an outfielder and probably as a third baseman too. So I thought that's the kind of guy you'd want to have, a guy that you can plug in on your guy's week off or injury week.
What'd you pay for him?
85.
I think that was a pretty astute move, Doug.
I was just shocked that there wasn't a co-bid. There was no other bid against him. Adam, are you back?
I am back. Can you hear me well?
Yeah. Adam's mic has gone out. So
where did Andrea go?
I don't know. She's not down there.
I couldn't tell you.
Adam scared her away.
I was gonna say I think she heard me, and that's it. Out of here. I can't blame her.
Did you make any big pickups this week, Adam?
I was pretty high on Nate Lowe, but then when it came to the draft, I couldn't really. I had Josh Bell a lot, but so I didn't draft him, and so I have picked Nate Lowe up, especially in a daily league, because Josh Bell their games are postponed or whatever, so I picked him up to pop him in, and Andrew Vaughn, my second first baseman, isn't playing every day, so I like what Nate Lowe's doing. He's batting 5th. It's not a great lineup, but he's got an awesome minor league track record. He did, he got platooned or he didn't play full time with the Rays, so I'd like to see what he can do.
Guess who's back?
Batting 5th.
Back again.
And it sure doesn't seem like Nate Lowe's going to have any competition. For better or worse, he's going to play every day. It seems.
No, he's not going to get beat up by the kid. What's his name?
Ronald Guzman.
Ronald Guzman. No.
Yeah, it was interesting. He had a great spring. Guzman did, but no, he's not a prospect. He's not an everyday player.
Well, the Rangers traded a pretty good prospect to get him, to get Lowe. So they're in total rebuild. So I think it's a good pickup.
Who did they trade?
Who did they trade? Nate Lowe? Who did they trade?
Was that Hernandez?
Whatever.
That Hernandez guy.
Who they traded with the Rays?
Hernandez.
don't remember.
So, you guys, I wanted to say what I noticed on this weekend. I've noticed that in Cleveland they have Andres Jimenez and Ahmed Rosario. They're sharing playing time. It looks like right now. We kind of thought that they would both get playing time. Like Lenny has a big crush on Ahmed Rosario, but yeah. So he's been hitting against lefties, and then they've been just basically split right down the middle. The time at shortstop.
Yeah, so far
That's not good.
No, not good.
I had
That
a long-term
Cleveland
feeling.
team is that thing's a crazy lineup.
Where in Cleveland?
I had thought that there was a talk in the preseason about Jimenez playing the outfield, and they've been searching for outfielders for so long, and now they got Eddie Rosario obviously gets the one spot, but they have that Jordan Luplow platoon with Ben Gamel.
They have two, yeah. So they
Ben
have a
So I thought there could be a point somewhere down the road where we saw Rosario and Jimenez both playing simultaneously, but we're only 4 days in.
Yeah, I thought he was going to be leadoff too, or that at least there was a chance.
Yeah, the Jimenez actually batted 9th in both games that he started.
Yeah.
That's kind of like leadoff.
Why are people getting rest already? Lourdes Gurriel is getting a breather today. I just don't understand. This is not the first player that I've seen. Like Bellinger took a day off. Corey Seager took time off.
That's preposterous. That's preposterous.
Well, is it possibly the reasoning is they're not in 162 game shape from last year?
I guess, but
Maybe.
it's only game 3. So how are they going to get in that much shape if they aren't even playing? You know what I mean? Like.
Yeah, and I'll just reduce that over time. I don't know, because I saw that with Giancarlo Stanton, but that's understandable, even in the 3rd game of the year.
Yeah.
But yeah, if it's widespread,
I said that about both Mookie Betts and Corey Seager got a day off already. You'd think those guys would play virtually the whole year long.
My guess it's not so much about giving these guys rest; it's to get at bats for these guys on the bench because they're probably going to be needed at some point throughout the year.
But why now and not?
So they're not going to let these guys go 10, 12 games.
But why did they do that like every other year in baseball? They never. I've never seen this before. That's all. So it has something to do with the fact that they didn't play a full.
It's also probably that like your opening day weekend is not your opening day weekend like it normally is.
Right.
There's not 50,000 fans in the stadium for every game wanting to see your best players, so you can get away with. You could not bench Mookie Betts if there were 55,000 people in Chavez Ravine.
That's a good point.
This year you can because there's 12, maybe 10.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, there's a bunch of little things going on.
Did you see that Giancarlo Stanton got booed out of the park?
The grand slam tonight.
Oh, he did. Maybe that helped him. Then maybe they'll be like, we'll do that more often now.
I find that all those Yankee guys, like you just at the point when you're about to give up on them, they'll hit a home run. That goes for Sanchez, Stanton, and Judge. Judge hit a home run today.
Douglas, who'd you pick up last night? Who'd you pick up from the waivers or who'd you?
In one league, I picked up Carlos Rodon and Colin Moran.
Okay.
In the other league, the 15-team deep league, I picked Chris Owings. I amazingly put in for a backup relief pitcher and wound up getting 3 of them. I didn't really plan on getting 3 of them. It just sort of happened when you put in 65 waiver moves. So I got Cesar Valdez for 30, and I got both Ian Kennedy and Chris Davinsky for 11, and that's in 1,000. I mean, these are not big pickups, but I picked up Chris Owings for $85. 85.
Why did you pay that much for Owings?
I thought when I first put in there, I put in 125, and I kept knocking it down a little bit because I really thought like this guy's already got 2 stolen bases. He plays literally every day at so many different positions. He's the kind of guy that you love. I could not imagine him going for less than $10 in 100 league. And so
you've seen him play before this year, and you know what he's like. And those 2 stolen bases could possibly be his only stolen bases.
He's had 2 seasons. I mean, he played 20 games last year in Colorado, which is only 20 games in a 60-game season. But if you go back 2 years before that, he's had 3 seasons with 17 or more stolen bases, 2 of those over 20. He can hit a little bit of power, it's not like it's like we're constantly thinking that stadium could salvage, Crone's career. He might hit 280 this year. Why couldn't Chris Owings, who's a professional hitter, he's good enough to play in the pros, hit 270, hit 275 there with 15 home runs and 25 stolen bases. I know it's a bit of a best case scenario, but I couldn't say that about anybody else that was on the waiver wire.
No, I hear you. I was just asking a question, kind of like devil's advocate over here.
No, it's good. You can say it. That's what we do. We talk about what it is. I was shocked that was the only bid on Owings. I didn't know how he wasn't the guy everybody was going after. Okay. And that always makes you feel like a moron when you look the next day. How is everybody not going for this guy?
I don't know. He's never. I feel like I'm pretty obsessed, especially with the waiver wire, even with Fab, because I used to be on not Fab. But he was not on my radar at all. The role you were describing kind of reminds me of Garrett Hampson, or what I wanted Garrett Hampson to be.
Well, that's the thing. It's like we tend to go like, wow, if Garrett Hampson got playing time, he could be pretty good. Or wow, if Sam Hilliard got playing time, he could be pretty good. Or wow, if Brendan Rodgers could say, why can't we say that about Chris Owings, who's healthy and they're willing to play?
I don't know.
How old is Chris Owings? Anybody? Anyone want to guess his age?
29.
He's 29. He'll turn 30 in late August. He's not an old guy.
Okay, and he does steal some bases. So
I think it's a great pickup. I applaud you. And you zigged when others are zagging. That's part of the mark of success in fantasy. I got Mitch Moreland. Who the hell wants Mitch Moreland?
I drafted Mitch Moreland because I like Mitch Moreland, but I actually cut him. I cut him to make one of those pickups this week. Not because I don't like him, but a keen realization that Shohei Ohtani is my DH, my utility spot, and so I didn't have space for three first basemen.
Mitchell, who'd you pick up besides Mitch Moreland?
I got a Q Badu for $9 and a 100 Fab.
It's a Badu.
Badu, who hit a grand slam. He's got 2 home runs in 2 games. He's a left-handed Randy.
Base today too.
He's left-handed Randy Arozarena is what he reminds me of. That's exactly what he reminds me of. I got Isbell from Kansas City. I got a bunch of pitchers in one league because my pitching sucks. So I got the guy from the Giants, Webb. I got Alzolay from the Cubs, who has maybe the best stuff of any starter. By the way, Trevor Williams is pitching a great game tonight.
Okay, hold on now. Okay, I have to interrupt you. So I have all these injured players in Tout Wars. I have Gallen. I have everybody injured.
Yeah, you do.
Players. So I had to pick up a few pitchers. And there's like nobody available, but you get lots of points for innings pitched. So I was like, okay, I got to just go and pick off the trash heap here. Trevor Williams was available. I got him. And I also got Steven Matz. Okay.
He did a nice job today.
Yes, I got between the 2 of them, I'm going to get 60 points, dude.
Good for you. Good for you, Andy.
Keep going. Keep talking about your pitchers. They can't top mine, sorry, but.
Well, I actually, for Malpal, since he tells me he's a closet Orioles fan, I'm glad to hear that, Malpal. I actually got Bruce Zimmerman, Malpal. What do you think of him?
I don't know much about him. I never, in fact, I don't. Go ahead. Tell me about him because.
Well, he's
a rookie.
He's number 3 in the rotation, and he pitched a respectable quality start. He did.
He was the Baltimore's 22nd top prospect.
Is that
right? I know
right?
that much. I know that he's in the top 25 at the very end.
I was preaching. I had Wainwright who pooped out. I've got Tristan McKenzie who's yet to appear in a baseball game. I don't know what they're saving. They're saving him for Christmas, I think.
Adam Wainwright was a nightmare, right? Adam Wainwright.
Yeah.
Ridiculous bad. I don't know. I just benched him this week, but
I benched Wainwright too.
I didn't drop him because
I didn't drop him, but I would put him on the bench.
I did in that league. I didn't mention I did pick up a pretty crappy pitcher, just because I was looking for someone to start, but I didn't start him. I picked up Chris Flexen for $4 out of 1,000.
I tried to get him too in one league because
Flexen went in both of my cash leagues that pay money. Flexen went in both of them.
Adam, who'd you pick up this week?
I know that you cut Ty Buttrey this week in the league we're in together because Buttrey retired.
Yeah, he's going overseas or something, or what's he doing?
I don't know.
Injured.
He's going to pursue things that make him happier than baseball.
Yeah, I had Max Myers. I think that's how you said. Not Max. What's his name? Maybe Mike. Mike Mayers. Mike Mayers. And Ty Buttrey there.
Myers.
But no, people I picked up were just backup closers or speculative guys. I talked about Nate Lowe a little bit. I
Name
had
speculative closers. People need to speculate.
What's that?
Name some speculative closers.
Oh, sure, yeah.
We're going to talk about the closers that was surprised us in a few minutes.
Okay.
No, the speculative guys that you have. I was just wondering, like, who are?
Oh,
You know, I had said that I was going to try to get Dylan Floro. I wound up getting Ian Kennedy instead. You know.
yeah, I picked up Kennedy. I don't know if he's named the closer. Crichton, because I think Soria is hurt now, and it wasn't Soria's gig, full-time, clear cut anyway. And then I picked up Carlos Martinez. What do you guys think about Carlos Martinez? He's not rostered in a lot of leagues. He wasn't that great, but he had COVID and an injury last year.
You get Martinez and a bottle of Rolaids at the same time.
No, I'm a
At the
fan.
same time.
Come on.
Now,
Mitchell.
we'll see.
I'm on the other side. It's like
Sorry, Adam.
both as a starter and as a reliever. Carlos Martinez has had great stretches and really horrible stretches. He's just one of those guys that he doesn't seem to be enough of a payoff to really worry about it.
I don't see him going through horrible stretches. Okay, I only see him.
But when he was closing 2 years ago for the Cardinals, he I mean, I know that ERA doesn't mean as much for a closer, but he had like a 4+ ERA as a relief pitcher. You know, that shows you there's a lot of games where he's letting up a lot of runs. He's also getting a lot of saves too, and he had some value. And you can live with a 4.26 reliever if he's going to get you 15 saves. You know,
I never 4.26 nothing, dude. Nothing.
As a closer, he was bad.
He had
as far as
he had 24 saves and he had a 3.17 ERA and a 1.18 WHIP. And he struck out 53 batters in 48 innings. That was his 1 year where he was a closer. And he's never had an ERA over 4, except for last year he did have a bad.
His ERA was improved that year by his starts, which were better.
Okay, whatever. So I like him. Okay, I like him, and I don't know if I'm going to be right. I actually have him on a couple teams, but I'm not feeling that confident in him. But I still think he's getting Alex Reyes is getting to be the closer in St. Louis. So there is a closer for you that we did not really know about going into the season. Alex Reyes is going to get the saves in St. Louis. Did you hear me? I don't know if you guys saw that brawl yesterday, then you would have seen Jordan Hicks was so angry, dude. I don't understand.
He was in there.
He was ready to brawl anybody that came near him, dude. He was so pissed off. But whatever, that has nothing to do with this. Malpal, what do you think of Carlos Martinez? I know you're not really that big of a fan either.
I'm not. I used to love that guy. I had that guy for years in my NL only. I saw him fall from grace. It hurt me bad. And to me, he's reinvented himself to a tier 3 or 4 level pitcher in an only league. I would not touch him in a mixed league.
Okay.
Personally, that's me.
Gotcha. Who'd you pick up this week?
Well, I live in the world of only leagues. I'm sorry, Douglas, but that's kind of where most of my games are at, and I've been killed by injuries. So I'm really speculating, trying to see what opportunities may exist for some of these scrubs to turn into full-time players because there's little in the way. And the one guy I took a shot at this week, and I honestly had never heard of him before this weekend. And I thought I'd heard of everyone. There's this guy from Houston named Chaz McCormick. Because in an only league, I had 2 outfielders go out, and Miles Strauss sucks. He's a terrible hitter. He's a one-trick pony.
Who's that?
McCormick. This guy named Chaz McCormick. I'm not going to sit here and tell you he's great, but he looks like a pretty decent all-around player. And
what I was told by, but I asked somebody about Chaz McCormick back in October to look like he used to be a left fielder. I thought it was really funny because his name's Chaz, and They said that as a prospect, he's not that great, but he has enough on-base skills to maintain some time in the majors. That's what they said.
So yeah, Miles Straw is not.
It's a dart throw. It's a complete dart throw.
Well, still though, Malpal, that's what we're here for. This guy Chad. Okay, did you hear Oakland playing the song about every time he cheats on me or something like that? When Houston came up to bat, they were playing
The Carrie Underwood song.
Yeah.
Seats.
I loved it. Okay, I loved it.
Yeah, because
I
the
picked up
Oakland
some
A's
guy named Chef.
are the pillar of honesty over there in Oakland.
It doesn't matter. It was still a great idea, dude. It was great. I loved it. Okay, so that's just me. I know everybody gets to have their own opinion. That's what we love about the Roundtable. We can all disagree and agree, and we're allowed to say how we feel, and nobody's going to cancel us, right, Douglas?
No one. We remain as good of friends as when we started.
Right. We're the only ones left too, I think. Okay. So anyway, Alex Reyes, Cesar Valdez. Were you guys surprised at Cesar Valdez getting the job? He's gonna get.
Yeah, and he's done all right.
Yeah, he's looked pretty good.
I picked up John Birdie and I loved it. I've spent $50 out of 1,000 on John Birdie.
Steals.
I love the position eligibility, dude. Between him and Joey Wendell, and Wendell hit a home run this weekend, so I just think they're really great to add for. I mean, I was talking about your point, Adam, on my Saturday show. I was talking about what you said about how you should pick up counting stats. That makes so much sense. You would probably rather have a guy like Jay Bruce on your team than a guy that's going to just bat 300, because you're trying to get counting stats here, like from these guys. So that's a brilliant idea. I'll just say that once again and give you credit.
Thank you.
Julian Merriweather, you guys. We thought Jordan Romano was going to be the closer in Toronto, and that the job is up for. I mean, this is a job that's not just a temporary job. It's the closing role for Toronto for the season. Are they going to go? I mean, Jordan Romano got a win, so that was a surprise to see him get a win.
Oh, what happened with the first save was that they were tied going in the ninth, and it's very common for you to throw your closer out in the ninth when you're tied. So Jordan Romano played the ninth inning. They were still tied, but in that inning they took the lead, and then Merriweather came in and finished out the 10th. And Merriweather is the most talented pitcher in their bullpen. And that was something we said a couple weeks ago, but it was, where does he fall in this thing? Then the next day a safe situation came up and they gave it to Merriweather. I still think that is a more fluid thing than you're going for, because much like the Alex Reyes situation in Cardinals, with the Cardinals, is that they see Merriweather as a future starter for them, and they don't want him to pitch only 45 innings.
If he was a starter, he would be in the rotation. I'm sorry to say that, but
I'm just saying what the management says. He's got 4 good pitches. You know, he's just young. Yeah, when I brought him up 2 weeks ago on this show, I said this guy could be the next Josh Hader, the next Dylan Betances. He could be that middle relief guy that just crushes things. What?
I didn't think he was young. I really didn't think he was
Merriweather.
Yeah,
he's drafted out of college. He's about 2 years out of college. I bet he's 24 or so, 23, 24.
You better look him up. Ian Kennedy is listed as the Texas closer. And then, so would you rather have Merriweather or the Tampa Bay closer, Diego Castillo, which we know how Tampa Bay is with their closer situation, Mitchell?
Yeah, I like Castillo. You're right. Tampa will drive you crazy on every player on their team. But I think Fairbanks is so useful in the 7th and 8th. I think the reason Castillo may have more job security than is typical is because Fairbanks is so valuable as setup. That's just my opinion. So I wish I had Castillo. I've always liked Castillo, by the way. And so
night, I'm sorry to cut you off if you're not.
No, it's okay.
I'll let you finish. The other night at Yankee Stadium, I think it was Yankee Stadium, but wherever it was Domingo Germán got pulled out after 3 innings, and then the next guy came in and he pitched 6 innings.
Michael King.
And I'm thinking, like, okay, we've talked so much about the limited innings this year, like possibly lots of pitchers are going to be limited on innings, and I'm like out searching in some league, in a league yesterday, I was out searching for the guy that comes in after the unreliable starting rotation. Like in Adam Plutko got a win, and there's some other pitchers that were surprise wins. And I mean, a win is a win, whether it comes from your starter or your relievers. And Lenny made a point on the show that only 4 starters got a win on the opening day. 4 starters out of 15 games. Or maybe they didn't all play that day. I don't remember.
Yeah, that's we know that innings are a problem for everybody.
So
you're not gonna make 950 innings with starters pitching 5 innings a day. A start, you're not gonna make it.
What about
nobody's gonna make it, huh?
Do you think that there will be more wins distributed amongst the bullpen? Not the closers, obviously, but like the guy that comes and relieves the starting pitcher.
Right.
They only have to throw 1 pitch, dude, and the rest, like the average.
But it's a very important pitch. If you get a win with 1 pitch, it's a very important pitch.
You know what I mean, though? Okay, so the average number of innings per start this weekend was 4.5 innings. So like the normal starter isn't even getting 5 innings. There was only 2 starters that went and pitched even into the 7th inning, much less like.
It is the first start. Right now, I could chalk it up somewhat to the fact that they're gearing up a little bit. If the same thing is true 3 weeks from now, then we got a problem. I did want to mention one guy in that category because he was a guy that I thought about drafting who doesn't have a starting role, who signed a 5-year contract with his team, which is that Randy Dobnak. But apparently that's what his role is going to be for his entire life. He's the guy that's going to come in when Pineda gets knocked out in the 2nd, because they have a bunch of guys that could have good games but could have bad games. He's going to be the guy coming in, and he's a guy that could be a relief pitcher with 12 wins.
Yeah, like the extra.
Dominic got a 3-inning save today.
That's what I'm saying. He's going to be that guy.
Yeah.
It's like, you signed him to a 5-year contract, 5-year deal, and he's not in your starting rotation. That's what we're going to do with him. We're going to have him be the guy.
Or other guys that are like the 6th man in the rotation, the 6th guy. That's the guy that's going to be like maybe the failed starter. That was never that good as a starter, but actually could be good in the bullpen. Adam, what do you think?
I had a question about Dobnak. Are they going to use? And then I have a couple of guys that kind of fit that. Are they going to use him in like mop-up duty? You said if somebody gets knocked out in the 2nd, is that just to fill innings, or is it sort of a
probably? I think philosophically, as a follow-up to the idea of the starter who pitches 1 inning, there is the new thing now. The opener pitches 1 inning. There's an idea that there are some pitchers that just aren't good enough to go through the lineup many times. And so like he's going to be the guy that fills in. Yeah, probably more often than not, it'll be when they're down runs. But it might be a situation where they're tied 2-2, and that the starters just pitched 85 innings and 85 pitches in 3 innings. It's not all going to be I imagine if they're down 7-1, it'll be somebody else.
Yeah, well, things are changing, but I think this year is going to be different than next year. But I was going to pick up, talk about Ross Stripling, who did not pitch well last year. But I always thought, they kind of in LA kind of treated him like Julio Urias and maybe Dustin May last year as well. It's kind of just piggybacking off of each other, getting some starts, but not ever getting a full season as a starter. And I think that's the role he's playing now, although I think he's filling in for Nate Pearson or Robbie Ray or whoever's injured there. And then Freddie Peralta. I actually didn't nail down exactly what his position is. Did he get a starting job, or is he just...
He's a starter.
He is a starter.
Has he gotten the start yet? But yeah, they were planning on starting. A guy that fits in that category is the odd man out in with the Dodgers, which is right now David Price. But he pitched really poorly in that one outing as a reliever.
He probably hates it. I can only just imagine how he feels about being in the that role. But I totally agree with Ross Stripling and Peralta. I think Peralta is a strikeout master, and I guess I feel like I might like him better as the setup guy. Like as the couple inning reliever. But I'm not sure yet because I don't think we've seen him pitch yet. But Ross Stripling had a bad day. He never walks anybody. He totally got the shaft from the Dodgers. Agree on that. And I think that I love the 2 that you brought up. That's good. Robbie Ray better come back soon. I think he's going to, but
yeah, they said he's pretty close.
Okay, good. And I saw that George Springer was getting ready to do some workout duty. I think well, we could just talk about which injury do you think is going to linger on all year? And I will say, sadly, that I think it is George Springer.
Yeah, I think it's Luke Voigt for me. They're bringing him back too soon after this meniscus repair,
Yeah.
and it hurts me. I was counting on 35 home runs.
Yeah.
They're bringing him back way too soon. If he comes back in 3 weeks, it's a non-starter.
I
opted for the surgery that's less invasive, so less time to come back, less time to heal from that. And maybe if they put him in as DH, he won't have to be so hard on his knee. You know, I don't know. If he just hits the ball out of the park, he won't have to run very hard.
But on Void, he's not going to be back in 3 weeks. He's going to resume activities in 3 weeks.
Okay, yeah, that may be right. Okay, Malpal.
No, I don't think that's true. I think it's like I think that he had two options for surgery. One was like eight weeks or 3 months, like 2 to 3 months, and the one that he chose, which is to just cut off part of the meniscus, is like it's like 3 to 5 weeks to come back. He'll start working out 10 days after surgery, so he'll start.
Does he play first, or do they have room for him to DH, or is that just all Giancarlo Stanton?
Yeah, well,
he might have to get out in the freaking outfield and earn some money that he's making.
Yeah.
Don't you think?
Yeah, Voigt was the standard first baseman last year for the most part.
Yeah.
Maybe.
I mean, as much as we like Jay Bruce to fill in, I mean, who cares? If Voigt came back, we'd show him the door real easily. But maybe Bruce could play the outfield.
Which first round pick is going to be a bust this year? We know that like at least 40% of the first round picks don't pan out. That's pretty much.
Well, I had a problem with the word bust. I really struggled with this. I don't think Lindor and Tatis. I don't think Lindor and Tatis are going to be busts, but I think they're not going to perform to a level congruent with the high status of their pick.
Okay.
You asked the question. I think neither of those guys, for whatever reason, Chase Field's harder to hit in than where Lindor was at. And Tatis is it's almost impossible for the kid to meet the expectations. You know, people the floor is 40-40. I don't think so.
I understand what you're saying. Absolutely. Malpal, who do you think is going to not live up to their first round draft pick?
Jose Ramirez.
Okay.
I have him a lot.
Oh my gosh! Why? Would
I
you
just
say
think that Cleveland Lions is not very good.
Yeah, there is something to be
I think
scared
he
there.
can be pitched around, and he's up to 2019. He had a terrible first half. He's having a decent start, but if I had to pick a guy, I mean, there's a lot of good players.
I know.
Got Fran Mill, but he's not. That's just if I had to pick a guy, he's a $40 player in a lot of auctions. He's got to really hit on everything to earn that. So,
everybody does. It's like such a high standard.
That's why I picked him.
Sorry, dude. It's just I hate the first
It
round.
is.
I would rather have like 2, 3 third round players and forget about the first round players.
Yeah, the first round in baseball is
The one thing
It's the only round where you draft. You have no chance of getting any value.
It's much better than the first round in football, which is horrible. Horrible.
Well, football's horrible.
Awful.
What were you saying, Malpal? We didn't hear you.
I'm not saying he's gonna have a bad year, but if I had to pick
A bust.
I'm not saying he's gonna have a bad year, but if I had to pick a guy, the one thing that can save Ramirez is he's got the speed. That's
that's the one.
gives him a nice floor.
Your turn, Douglas. Who's a bust?
I mean, my idea of bust, like any one of these guys could get injured and get knocked out for 120 games, and that's not really a bust in the sense of a bust because it's nothing that they did other than getting hurt. But if you're just talking about who's most likely in that group to not play up to the level of ability to be a top 15 pick, I think that there's absolutely no chance that Justin Bieber finishes in the top 15 this year.
Shane
Bieber, whatever. Justin Bieber won't finish top 15 either.
Justin Bieber have trouble out there.
To be fair, but it's like he pitched his first game and it was perfectly fine, but it literally was his first game was the would have been like his second worst game of last year. And he's going to go through 26 starts. He's going to have 3 or 4 starts that aren't. Last year, he was able to roll the dice, have 8 perfect starts, which never happens over 25, 30. He's gonna fall there. Now he might only fall to the 35th best player, the 40th player, but there is absolutely no chance he's finished the top 15.
Adam, who's your bust for the first round? Do you have?
I like those two, by the way, Jose Ramirez and Shane Bieber, but I would still want them on my team.
Yeah, I'm saying I still want him on the team, but I'm saying not be in that first round. I mean, I look at these guys, and none of these guys I'm going to look at and go, he doesn't deserve to be here.
Yeah, I guess I'm just an upside guy. And I like those two guys, but I would say Trevor Bauer and Bellinger if he's in the first round. I think Trevor Bauer's just outside the first round, but I really couldn't find a bust in the first round.
I forgot to tell Adam about Andrea's love of Trevor Bauer. You just said the wrong thing. She's never going to ask you back now.
That's not true. I don't have Trevor Bauer on any teams this year. Not one team. Not even any best ball. Nothing. He was just. I mean, I had him on almost every team last year when he was still cheap. Okay, but. I mean, I hope he doesn't bust, but I'm not going to put my first round pick in him.
I think the same thing I said about Bieber can be said about Bauer, is that there's a really good chance that he has to be. I mean, just being a little bit worse will knock him down 20 spots. You know?
Yeah. It's all about defining bust. But last year his spin rate was noticeably up.
Yeah.
Which I don't know.
Yeah,
there's nothing you can tell Andrea about Trevor Bauer she doesn't already know. But try.
I think I know everything.
It's cute.
I think I know everything. Okay, but yes, he admitted to us that he used substances just.
Oh, there you go.
He didn't say it like that, but he has said in interviews before that he has been trying to work on his spin rate for years, like 8 years. He's never been able to get it up except for when he uses substances. And we have to assume that's what he did.
They all do.
Will he stop? Or did MLB come out and say that they're going to be all, tough on this?
They can't stop it. They might just want to go piss in the ocean and try to turn it yellow.
Dude.
They said they were going to monitor spin rate as like to see that's like a red flag, increases, and then they go from there. But I don't know how they would do that.
There's no way, dude.
But the bright side for Bauer is that his spin rate was up last year, so it's probably not going to increase by another 300. So he's cool this year.
But he pitched. But okay, so the other night he was pitching a no-hitter, and I was so excited. I turned the TV on, and the first thing that he did, the first batter that he faced, hit home run. What? Okay, it's my fault. So I picked Cody Bellinger because I think that he's got some serious injury issues from last year that have not fully fixed themselves or healed from, but he did hit a home run. So I could be totally wrong there. I warned everybody about him. So when he does finish up the season with like 10 home runs, just kidding. I don't know.
He was my second guy though. He was a 16 in ADP but he's one of those lefties that has hit lefties very well in some seasons and not in others. It's just risky. There are just some lefties who are inconsistent with that. And I just thought that his 2019, his ridiculous year. I mean, his rookie year was great too, but 2019, he was, for the last 4 months, he basically batted 277 with, good power. That just not a first round kind of guy. And that's more what I go over.
Mitchell, are you sleeping, Mitchell?
No, I'm awake.
Who do you think is a bust? Did you already tell us?
Oh, yeah. Well, I think I already said I thought Lindor and Tatis were not going to they're not going to perform up to the lofty expectations. But as terms of a bust, I had trouble. To me, someone's a bust is like Malpal says, if you're injured, you're not a bust, not really. So a bust is someone who plays all year long and stinks. Jock Peterson, who's already been
Christian Yelich last year.
He's already. Thank you, Doug. Yelich last year was a bust. Jock Peterson's already been benched by the Cubs because he's failed to get a hit yet this year. And
he did walk once.
What?
He did walk once. Oh, he's totally useless.
Hold me down. Yeah.
You guys are so mean to Jock Peterson. This is not the first time you're mean.
We only treat Jock Peterson the way he deserves to be treated.
I got in a bidding war for this guy.
Aren't you glad that you didn't get him? Okay.
Huh?
You should have to You should have to go to a meeting for that.
I need to go to Bidders Anonymous.
Okay, who's the sleeper team that makes it to the playoffs?
Miami.
Miami. Okay.
I looked at that AL in the NL East. I don't really think any of those teams are sleepers. Like any of them could make the playoffs.
Miami's a sleeper in my opinion. That's for sure.
I think that in like the truth is like the NL Central, any team besides the Pirates could make the playoffs.
Who'd you
But
pick?
in the West, well, I picked the Giants because that's the only spot where there's any real give. I think the Giants have a better pitching staff than people think, and they score more runs than people think.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, it would take a lot for them to get in the playoffs because there's stuff in their way. I believe the best case scenario is that they're the second wild card team from the Western Division, and you got to figure that they're going to take some lumps from the Dodgers and the Padres. But I don't think Milwaukee is a surprise. I don't think the Braves are a surprise. I don't think the Cubs would be a surprise. I don't think the Cardinals would be a surprise.
Okay.
You know?
I got you.
Giants
Giants it is. Okay. Malpal, who's your surprise team that gets in the playoffs?
I guess it depends on the way I looked at surprise. I kind of looked at the odds of winning the division.
That's fair.
Last week, Kansas City was plus 4,000.
That's my team.
Which seems like
that was the American League.
Like an obvious late $10, because they're pretty good.
Yeah, Kansas City.
I like the Angels a lot this year.
Why though, dude?
I like them a lot.
Why?
I think they got. I mean, who's got a better 1 through 6 in baseball?
The
Braves. Atlanta.
Nah,
Yankees.
Pretty much
that
a lot
team.
of teams.
The Angels are loaded. Their pitching is another story, but
Rockies maybe.
So wait,
that's
who
a
do we
nasty
have?
lineup.
The Angels. They have Mike Trout, obviously. They have
I almost picked the Angels because I was thinking this might be the year.
Trout,
Rendon and Ohtani. I forgot about. Okay, but
this might be the year they move on to the next grouping. I mean, Jared Walsh hit 2 home runs yesterday. It's like they still got Upton, they still got Pujols, they still got. Is there somebody else? I don't know. But those older guys, if they could step to the background,
they don't strike out.
And let these other guys play, they could surprise. And it's not like, I mean, the A's have made the playoffs a number of years without really being dominating. They could take that spot. I mean, I could see that. I'm not predicting it, by the way, but I could see it.
Well, Mike Trout deserves to win. Okay.
And like Trout, we'd like to see in there.
Yeah, for sure. Adam, who's your favorite sleeper?
I'm curious what you guys have to say. Other teams.
Yeah, I don't follow baseball as much as I follow fantasy baseball. That started about 5 years ago. I don't have a great one, but I was looking at the Toronto's lineup. Are they a sleeper?
Yeah. Okay. I don't know. They're gonna. I think the Red Sox are gonna finish last. Okay, but.
Oh yeah. I think the Rays. I think the Rays are probably still the best team with the fewest question marks. I love the Rays, and the Yankees will probably make the playoffs. So I don't know how that works with the second wild card, but.
Yeah, no worries, dude. You don't have to answer all the questions on these.
Yeah, I was trying to come up with one.
No problem. Mitchell, you already said. Did you already say Mitchell?
What's that?
Your sleeper team.
Oh yeah, I said the Miami Marlins are mine.
Okay, let's talk about prospects. Let's talk about some prospects that we think are going to make the most fantasy impact this season. And, we can combine this with if you say your favorite prospect, and then you can also say one prospect or two that you don't think is a good idea to roster this year. Go ahead, Douglas.
I actually think who would I pick for Rookie of the Year? And as much as I like Ty France in Seattle, I'd still pick Randy Arozarena to be the Rookie of the Year in the American League. And the National League, I would pick Ian Anderson to be the Rookie of the Year. There are other guys out there.
Who?
Prospects, though. Prospects.
They are prospects. These guys are. You want true prospects? They're guys that aren't. Like right now, I would say that the guy that isn't in the pros that I would want in the American League is Alex Kirilloff.
Do you like any of them that are already in the majors?
I just said that. I said Ian Anderson, Randy Arozarena, and Ty France.
Madrigal, Vaughn,
I don't like Pache. I do like Vaughn. I like Madrigal. And there's a lot of things to like about people.
He's very.
Huh? I actually think Mize is going to be the better pitcher there in Detroit.
Okay.
I have an opinion on every single prospect there is, to be honest.
Okay.
But I was looking at like who would be the best guy, the most impactful guy, and I think that I've drafted Ty France in a lot of spots because getting a guy with that kind of stuff that comes on in the 20th round or 19th round is going to be a bigger impact than as good as Vaughn might be having to draft him in the 9th.
Okay.
You know.
Gotcha. So
You know.
So you like to put on your roster right now, if you had a choice of any youngster, you would put either Ian Anderson or Rosarina. Ian Anderson is not, I say he's a big bust, but that's just me. Mitchell.
I say the prospect, if they call him up, who's I think is the one I would want and could have the most impact is Wander Franco.
Do you think he's going to have the most impact this year?
I think he'll be up by June 1st, and yes, I do think he's going to have an impact.
All right. Who is a rookie or a prospect that you wouldn't put on your roster?
Adele.
Good idea.
I'm not sure Adele's ever going to make it. I know you and Lenny have been saying that, and I'm total agreement with both of you. I just don't see it.
Yeah, I don't either.
There's been a lot of players that are terrific in the minors, and Joe Adele's one of them. But I watched him. I had him on 2 teams last year. He looked lost up at the plate.
When we were in Arizona and we saw Adele for the first time, I was like, I don't understand the hype on this guy. He's just not, I mean, look at his numbers. I don't see it. And I also, I have to keep in mind that minor league numbers are not always, we
don't translate
a lot of times. Yeah, but Adele just doesn't, I don't see it. Okay, so what about you, Malpal? Which rookie are you putting on your roster?
Well, we got rookies and prospects. Rookies, I was going to say Hayes from Pittsburgh, but he got hurt, right? He's on the DL. I don't know what his deal is.
Awesome.
I saw that today.
No, Cabrera.
Third baseman for the Pirates.
Oh, okay.
Brian.
Yeah, that's a good one.
If I had to pick a guy that's a prospect, though, he's a prospect and he's not in the majors. It's Logan Gilbert from the Mariners. He is not in the majors, but he will be up. He is the real deal. And if I had a prospect, that's who I would, a name I'd throw out.
Wait, say his name again. I don't even know who that is.
Logan Gilbert, starting pitcher for the Mariners. He's working.
Good. He's
highly regarded.
Okay.
As far as guys I don't like this year that I'd stay away just from, I'm staying away from Vaughn. I mean, he has no real track record. I'm not saying he could break out. He has no real track record in pro ball. He's a great college hitter, but he's gone. He's getting. Anytime I see these guys get this much press with no real track record, I'm staying away. I'll let someone else have them and hope they do good. I'm not taking those guys for a 1 year, run.
Vaughn is 0-for-7 right now, 0-for-6 in the majors. He's only played in 2 games, so I thought for sure he would be in the lineup every day because Eloy is out. I thought he would be DH, play outfield, whatever. I don't know who they're even playing. I guess Mercedes is the guy of the hour, but Vaughn is getting the shaft right now. So
yeah, he doesn't have a lot of practice in the outfield too. I read that might, keep them from putting him in left field all the time.
For sure. So
but it's interesting that they're betting Yermin Mercedes at DH instead of Vaughn.
That's true.
Who hits gets in the lineup. That's how it works in the real life.
Yeah, Mercedes is hitting.
Yeah, he's got 8 hits in the first week.
Saying Vaughn
he'll have 10 in the first month.
Gotcha. What about you, Adam? Who do you like and don't like for prospects? They're very iffy players.
Yeah, I did have Vaughn. I have 3 real quick. I won't talk too much about him. I did like Vaughn. I think he's going to be a points league specialist he's got great plate discipline. And he's in a great lineup. That's the other thing. Mm-hmm. But the one, and I love Kirilloff. I think he is flying under the radar. He didn't have a great year in 2019. I think he was injured, but his 2018 was awesome. And I think, forget who's playing in the outfield, but he'll get called up. But Jared Kalenic. I think he is just going to be just a stud. And if Julio Rodriguez, if he's not going to be more impactful, but if he were to come up, I think per game, Julio Rodriguez might be able to match him.
That's good.
Yeah, these are good names because
Yeah.
for sure. So I have Jazz Chisholm on a couple teams, in case you guys can believe that. As soon as they said that he was going to be the starting second baseman, I was like, okay, I'll put him on my team. I'm not usually a guy that goes for rookies or prospects. I really don't believe in most of them. I don't know if I even believe in Chisholm, but he had such a great spring that I had to, take a chance on him in a best ball league.
I think. I mean, I almost put Chisholm as the guy I would stay away from. I think that he's a stolen bases play.
Yeah,
That's what he is, and he's going to be good at that one thing. So that's not enough for me to say. It's not enough for me to say stay away from. But if he bats 238, I mean, he probably hit like 11 or 12 home runs too. But he could steal 30 bases. He could.
He could hit 15 home runs, or who knows what he'll do.
But the 30 stolen bases is actually like there's only like a dozen players you can say that about, and that's why I couldn't say don't pick that guy up. I think long term he's going to be a good player.
I like him for this year because he's playing from day one, and we know that we don't have to wait for him to get called up. If he doesn't continue to hit, though, I don't know what they'll do with him. I have John Birdie just in case. So I also don't think that you should be drafting or putting on your team Pache. I mean, I think everybody's well aware about how I feel about him because they say he's a stolen base guy, but he hasn't done anything when it comes to stolen bases except for get caught stealing. That's all he's done. So I'm not a fan of Pache. Moving on in the rundown. And
you got something?
Yeah, we all went, right?
I just saw Adam waving his hand.
Okay, sorry.
Sorry, I didn't want to. I don't like Wander Franco for this year. I think he's I don't think the Rays are going to, aggressively promote him. He doesn't hit for a ton of power. And I went back and looked at his stolen bases. And I don't know the circumstances, and it's not all going to translate, but he had 18 stolen bases, never played above A ball, and 14 caught stealing. So I don't know. I feel like there's been like 2 years of hype for him. He's going to be a great ball player. I just don't know. He's going to be hit over 300, no doubt, but I just have questions about the stolen bases and the power.
I get where you're coming from. I was sitting there thinking to myself, why is this guy being drafted in so many leagues? Because you're going to be waiting at least 40 or 50 days before he plays, maybe even longer.
Yeah.
He's a guy that, as a draftee, he's going to probably disappoint those guys. If you'd wound up picking him up off waivers on, May 22nd, you'd probably love what you got.
There's so much hype
Agreed.
around players that don't offer that much fantasy-wise, and maybe they're going to be a great baseball player, and maybe they'll be wonderful for their team, and they have plate discipline, but they are not helping your team out because, number one, they're rookie. Number two, they just don't – that's not their specialty. Their specialty is, like, getting on base, like Vaughn. Who's the other one? Madrigal. He's another
Madrigal. That's what I was going to say. Wander Franco is just like he's better than Madrigal, but he's more power, but similar to Madrigal.
Yeah, so – what about, this is kind of out of the blue, but I like Taylor Widener I picked up. Did I talk about him already? Taylor Widener?
I don't think he did. He's the guy that filled in Arizona, had a nice game.
He had a great spring, and then he had a nice game. So I'll give him that. Zach Gallen is that's going to linger too, okay? So I don't think we finished the lingering injury subject. Does anybody else talk?
You guys name it. The guy that worries me is Trevor Hoffman. Shoulder injury with a guy that throws as hard as he does. There's no guarantee even if he comes back, he's going to pitch out the rest of the year. I think that makes Diekman somebody that is worth going after because he's going to be the closer now, and he'll probably be the closer.
Who?
Diekman. He'll probably be closer even after he loses.
Trevor Hoffman. I think you meant Trevor
Rosenthal.
There.
I get all my Trevors. I get my Trevors confused.
You had the first name right.
No problem.
Trevor Rosenthal. I love Trevor Hoffman. Matter of fact.
So Rosenthal was going to be like one of the more sturdy closers to get this year because he was had job security. But so now, I love watching Diekman pitch. I found him by accident because I was trying to go find out how to pronounce his name. You should go to YouTube and look at him. He's pretty good. So I don't know how he's going to do as a closer, but he was pretty good.
Diekman, like 5 years ago, came on my radar because I always like at the end of the year, I always like to look for relief pitchers that have 100 strikeouts in a season. Like that's something.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
Diekman did that with the Phillies in like 2015. But he's always been sort of erratic. But apparently, he's gotten better over the last couple of years. He's been like one of those guys who strikes out a lot, but has a 1.45 WHIP. He's gotten better than what he was when he was a rookie. Can you believe that?
If you have to go, you can sneak out of here, and nobody's gonna be mad at you.
Adam said, "How long are we going to talk?" I go, probably 90 minutes, maybe more. But when you're having a good conversation, it's hard to get off. We've been talking for 90 minutes.
Douglas and I will talk for like 5 hours, but
I wasn't worried.
We kind of try to keep it to a minimum.
When Adam called me on the phone, because I said we need to talk in person just to make sure that we're, we talked for like 2.5 hours.
Nice. Baseball.
About baseball.
Such a nice escape from life, dude, right now. It's just
That's
such a nice
right.
escape. What else? Malpal, what else did let me look at the list here. If you have to go, we understand. What about Logan Allen? You guys like Logan Allen? I mean, so there's 2 Logans that had a good spring. Like 2 Logans were doing really good, throwing really well. Logan Webb and Logan Allen.
And then
one of them used to be a San Diego player, right? Pitcher. Malpal, is he still there?
Logan Allen.
Okay.
No, Logan Allen's with Cleveland. Started today.
Yeah.
I don't like him. No. Not in a mixed league.
How about Logan Webb for San Francisco? He's better, maybe, because he pitches in San Francisco, and we love it. But they've been doing some very good things with their pitchers lately. Go ahead. Sorry.
I'd stay away. He's a funky delivery type guy. In a mixed league, I wouldn't touch either of those guys.
I mean, there are two kinds of leagues out there.
Yeah.
In a 15-team league, I would love if Logan Webb were available. In a 12-team league, I don't want him.
Probably true. Okay, gotcha here. So, what do you think, Adam? Do you know either? I mean, are you? I just put them down on the list because they got my radar.
My memory had to be jogged for Logan Allen. I remember he was called up either last year or 2019. But in every draft, starting really to maybe 2019, I pick starting pitchers really early. Like this year, my first 5, and sometimes 6 out of 7 are starting pitchers. So
wait. You drafted your first 5 rounds or whatever. Your first 5 players are pitchers.
Yeah, 100%. Go ahead.
No, I'm just intrigued by this because I've never heard. A lot of times I'll hear people that don't draft pitchers until like the 4th or 5th, which I think is way too late to start drafting a pitcher these days. But on the other hand, if you're going to start off by drafting a pitcher, you just keep reinforcing them with good pitchers, and that could be a really smart move. But I've never seen anybody do it. I've only seen them draft, like if they're in the 12th spot in the draft, they'll draft like 2 pitchers in a row. That I see a lot. But I've never seen anybody. Is this the first time that you're using this strategy, or did you do this last year too?
I did it last year, and but I've been moving toward it. Like I think it was back in 2015, I joined a home league that had been going on, and I drafted Kershaw 3rd, and it was like, oh, that's too high for a starting pitcher, but it worked out. And I just I feel like the replacement level players, not replacement level, but the next tier of hitters, especially in the last 2-3 years, we'll see with the dead and ball, is not going to be that much of a drop off than from the 5 or 6 starting pitchers that I have, and they're got to be the best in every league. Even if they get hurt, then those and the starting pitcher, I don't know, 40 through 50 or whatever. I love it. It's worked out. I also don't have to get good closers. I can, because for ratios, I got that covered. The 5 or 6 starters dominate the ratios because they're throwing more innings and there's more of them. And so I can pick up, I don't have to use a high draft pick on, Liam Hendricks or Josh Hader, which would be great to have, but I can pick up Ian Kennedy and I can just play the waiver wire game all year long.
Do you have any injured starting pitchers so far this year? I mean, if you say no, I'm going to be like, oh.
No, I do. I got Zach Gallen, and he was kind of a high pick. He was definitely in the first 6 rounds.
He was in like the second round or third round. He was very early pick.
Yeah, I think he's probably third in this particular league. And then I got Carlos Carrasco, but Carlos Carrasco I got it right around like 150, and he was my 6th pitcher. But Carlos Carrasco is my 6th pitcher. I want to
in one league.
Yeah, so do I.
So I understand your pain, dude. I'm with you.
But I have 4 other great starting pitchers. So
okay, who's your other 4?
It varies from league to league, but let's say in that one, I think it's Strasburg. They'll all have questions, right? I have Strasburg, but he seems healthy now. Okay. And I have Shane Bieber, Max Scherzer, who has some questions, Jack Flaherty, questions, and Walker Buehler, who some people have questions about, but I don't. I was talking to Doug about this, and he was saying, that the drop off from he's not excited about any of the later pitchers, like from 15 to 40 or whatever. But that's kind of my reasoning, and even their high risk with injury, that's kind of my reasoning to draft more of them. And I can totally see the other side of the argument. So
I actually think that's what I was telling them, that's one of the beauties of fantasy baseball, is that unlike any other fantasy sport, there literally are at least 3 different, maybe 4 different strategies you could take.
That's right.
And they all can work. I've seen people play the pitching strategy, and I've never seen it completely work because of injuries, and that's what scares me about it. It works for a long period, or it gets the team into 3rd place, but the win is a thing. But I understand it. I understand it entirely, and that's what we were talking about.
Do you ever get your drafts like graded, or do you ever look at like this expected standings of your drafts? And I wonder how you finished in those, because like Fantasy Pros or Fantasy Alarm does it too, whatever. You know what I'm talking about.
I did it once.
The one for the league we're in together. There's a fantasy thing there. I can look that up if you haven't looked at it.
So I made a mistake there, and I should make an important addendum. I am the first 6 draft picks, or 5 out of 6. What are the first 5? That is the most aggressive I am, obviously, but that's in a daily lineup league because there aren't enough of the second tier full-time hitters, but I can carry more hitters and combine platoon guys. And per at bat, those guys aren't bad, like Alex Dickerson or, Wilmer Flores or Mike Brousseau, like guys that just aren't valued at all. They're free, but they can hit lefties really well. So I'll only have them in there when they hit lefties. I am less aggressive. I probably still get 3 starting pitchers out of my first 5, but I am less aggressive in a weekly lineup league.
So yeah, I would love to see what the fact that you're playing. Wilmer Flores, I'm a big fan. I don't understand. Alex Dickerson, unfortunately, these guys, you would have to do so much maintenance keeping up with your team, even because it's a daily league and you have to like pay attention to who's playing today against who. And so like, I'm always about, I call it a set it and forget it guy, like Eric Hosmer. You just set it and forget it. Just leave them in there. And so I'm really bad at doing my rosters anyway, but Malpal, I noticed in that RT Sports League that we did, the best ball leagues, both of those leagues, people were going crazy with pitching right off the bat. I was able to get Jose Ramirez and Mookie Betts on the same team, and picking it right in the middle of a 12-team league, like number 8 or something. I was able to get both of those players, and so that just goes to show you how many pitchers were being taken early. What do you think about this idea, dude? Mitchell?
He got a C rating, which was most of the everybody in the league except for 6 people got a C rating of some sort.
Oh, I got C. What'd you get?
No, I don't want to talk about mine because mine is like I got an A plus, but I think they're meaningless.
An A plus.
Yeah, that's why it's stupid.
I'm in last.
Nobody ever wins a draft.
So.
You're in last.
Somebody. Me?
No, Malpel said he's in last.
I think every one of our leagues, I think I'm in last place by a lot.
Okay, so here's what happened.
But it's early.
It's only been 4 games, and you figure that, like my like I only get in this league. I have 19 points from my pitching staff, but my earliest pitcher is Steven Strasburg. They haven't even had their opening day yet. It's
Okay.
dumb to think too much right now.
Mitchell and Adam, I want to tell you a
I know.
story.
I'm just
I
Okay.
gotta tell a story. So we decided to get into this best ball league where, you know, it's an NFBC league, and there's 32 rounds in this league and best ball, so you don't have to do anything. Anyway, we're drafting. It's like one of the very first rounds, maybe round 2 or 3. No, I think it was probably round 3 that Douglas started saying something to this other guy. That
It was
like,
later than that. It was we were 6 rounds in. I didn't say anything to
Slow
him directly.
draft.
I said something like some people
Wait, I know
like
exactly what you said. Just
what I
hold
said. The first thing I said was, why do people join slow drafts if they don't like drafting? That's what I
Right.
wrote.
And so
It
this
named
guy-
nobody.
This guy
It-
Deuce Man is his name, and he affected us more than anybody else because we were right next to him in the draft. So like between me and you, Douglas, it was
Because of
just-
him, I got auto picked a guy who's on the 60-day injured reserve.
Well, you should have better players in your queue, okay? So anyway, Douglas says that, and the guy comes back and he goes, "Eat shit, Douglas." And so then Douglas fights back with him, and he's like calling him a douche man, right? He's calling him douche and stuff. And this guy gets pissed off, and he decides that he's not ever gonna take his pick, okay, before the 4-hour window is over. I've never seen anybody like act so childish and like take it out on the whole league because you didn't like what Douglas said to you, you know, like.
Oh, I have.
He would take 4 hours and then he would come back and he would see that he's on auto, take himself off auto, and then he would go another 4 hours because he would disappear. And he was like talking about how he has 50 drafts going on. And I'm thinking like, and then, you know, but Douglas would not close his mouth. So literally it took so long for this draft that they had to come in and turn the timer down to 30-minute pick times because we were never going to make it, dude, by All-Star game.
And that's why I auto drafted, because they did that in the middle of the day with no warning.
And
While I was
like,
literally in line getting my COVID shot, they all of a sudden put me on the clock and gave me a 30-minute clock. You know, like I should have, based on what was going on in that league, I should have literally had till midnight that night to make my pick.
You
know?
need to be quiet though and zip your lips for the.
No, nothing with me. No, he was at 1 hour and 49 minutes going into that thing, and then he finished at like 2 hours and 9 minutes. And before he was at 2:09 before the drop to 30 seconds. And the truth is, for about 6 of the rounds, I said absolutely nothing, and he still took 4 hours twice.
Douglas, everybody's allowed to take 4 hours to draft.
No, they're not.
It's
they're not.
very good etiquette.
It's not. If you join a slow draft, there has to be an agreement along everybody that you have a certain amount of time to draft, but you have to get done before the season starts.
But they're going to make you get done before the season starts because they automatically lower the clock. So but
yeah. So
somebody
everybody in that league paid the penalty for one guy's intransigence. Because there were about 30 or 40 auto picks because they had to come on in the middle of nowhere and say, "Hey, we're going to auto," and people weren't prepared for it. When I left to get my shot, I put somebody in my queue for my next pick. The next pick was what I wanted. It's the fact is there was no way in hell I was going to come up with 2 picks within 4 hours unless that guy did it. Like it's completely like that guy should be banned from that site.
Okay, but can we say
But
we
you know-
learned any lessons from this or no? I can learn a lesson from it. I bet you. I will learn a lesson.
I'm not going to buy a lesson that if somebody is being a total a-hole, that we should coddle him. I don't think it's a lesson that I'm going to learn ever.
So
And
you-
the truth is,
If you're given 4 hours,
no.
yeah, let me finish, please. If you're given 4 hours, you can use 4 hours. I think it's stupid, but that's why I don't do slow drafts.
No, the reason slow drafts are a problem
If
is
you're given,
like-
let me finish, please. If you're given 4 hours,
that
you
might be
shouldn't be castigated for using the 4 hours.
no,
The
you should be.
The
It should be.
system gave you the 4 hours.
No, but the thing is
Or
that when you start the draft,
Then don't do a slow draft. Then just stop.
no, that's the thing. If you're gonna use the entire time, it's like this. Like
You're
if
allotted the time by the
when you drive into town, and you put 2 quarters into the parking meter and you have an hour and you run in and get your store stuff, right? And you come out in 33 minutes, you sit in your car for the other 27 minutes. No,
But they
You,
have
you're
2-hour
But you could.
right now your car your
But you
serial you're listening to this on goes all the way up to 10. Do you always listen to it at 10? No, you use what you're allotted. And the truth is, when you start the draft, you should know, like, I have 12 hours or 8 hours over to make the draft, but I know I have to average 5 hours to do my share to get the draft done on time. And if you do a draft and you take an 8-hour pick, you should make a point somewhere in there.
Can
make
I
like a
say
30-minute
something
pick.
and then I gotta go?
Yes.
That
Go ahead.
Here. So in this case, I understand what Mitch is saying, but in this case, he had enough time to troll in the chat room. For
Yeah, he literally
hours,
was trolling while
going
he was
at
on
it
the
with
clock.
Douglas. So he could have had enough.
Yeah, he was fighting.
No, I don't. The
trolling
idea
on the clock, and then
that
he comes out, and
the
anyone who
idea
comes
that
out and says,
That's a fair
just
point.
because I don't like you, I'm going to wait 4 hours.
Now
I'm going to wait
that's-
4 hours just to screw you, even though I could pick earlier.
It was a
That
nightmare.
sucks.
Okay,
So-
so I shouldn't have
but
brought it up.
We can complain about it, but I don't know how you get around it.
You don't. You just only
I got to
sign up.
go.
Yeah,
Bye.
It's
bye,
been a
dude.
pleasure. Thank you.
Bye.
Talk to you later.
It's good to meet you.
Just don't join drafts.
Nice
that are
to
4
meet you,
hours.
Adam. Good stuff.
Thanks.
Douglas,
yes,
Douglas.
I got to go.
Bye, dude.
Okay.
Yep.
Don't join any more drafts that are 4 hours.
Bye.
no, there's nothing wrong. No, if a guy says I get to use the whole
No,
time,
no,
the whole
we
time,
already-
everything.
We got
No,
it.
no. If you start there's 10 days to go when the draft started. The guy who made the mistake was him. If he was going to use 4 hours every pick, he was saying that I'm perfectly okay with this draft ending in May.
As for-
No, the person who made the mistake, Doug, was the person who set the thing up and should have set it up in such a manner that if everybody used the maximum time, it would still finish before the season started.
That means that there would be no drafts after January.
That's the guy who screwed up.
No,
was
no.
the
The
very
maximum,
last
the
day.
maximum, like you're allowed to use the maximum time you get on your clock. Yes, you are, but you're not allowed to use it every time on the clock.
And there's nothing in the rules that say you can't. I did.
Yeah, it's only you only
I did- if you're
don't do that
talking
if you're not a decent
Okay.
person.
I
The
did.
rule
I-
is that you get done before the season starts. That's the rule.
Okay,
It's only-
Douglas. Okay, we're gonna move on. We already know you guys both have two different opinions.
No,
Understandable. We understand that.
the saying that if you get 4 hours, you get to take 4 hours just resonates as
understand.
so outside this realm of normalcy that
Okay.
it just drives me up a wall.
One more question, then we're out. We're going home.
Okay.
Okay. One more question. Which
All right.
player that was picked late, which meaning after pick 200 or later in ADP, is going to finish in the top 50 of fantasy this year, 2021? I'll go first. I picked Paul DeJong because he's already hitting home runs and stuff, and I figured he's just
Who?
Paul
Who?
DeJong.
Paul DeJong of the
I think
Cardinals.
he'll finish in the top 50 maybe, but there's a lot of choices. I mean, I think after 250 there's not a lot of choices, but I like Paul DeJong, so that's who I picked.
I picked Dustin May.
Dustin May though, is he gonna pitch in the rotation, or is he gonna get
He's in the rotation now.
So it's Julio Urias and Dustin May in there?
Yes.
And then Gonsolin and Price are bullpen.
Gonsolin's on the IL now.
Okay. All right, Dustin May it is. So Douglas, who's your pick?
I misread the thing, but I'll because I picked some guys over in the 150 range. I didn't think
That's
that
okay.
I didn't think anybody would. The I thing is, if you're picking somebody over that 200, it would be somebody that has the possibility to hit. They either have to be able to hit home runs and steal bases, or hit a lot of home runs. So I'll pick Bobby Dahlbeck because he could
I was just
theoretically
gonna
hit
say,
40.
I knew you were going to take him, dude.
I was thinking the guys that are outside were the guys like in that 130, 150 range, were like the Byron Buxtons, maybe the Victor Robles, who can do both. There's not a lot of those guys deep in the deep part that can do home runs and stolen bases.
Actually, I agree with Doug. I don't think anybody above 200 is going to finish in the top 50.
You know?
Truth be told.
Whereas I can see a guy like Mitch Haniger finishing in the top 100 from where he's at, that
I
kind of
agree.
thing.
I agree.
But top 50 is tough.
I understand, but I bet Adam found one.
I just thought of one, Kalenic, but I love Nick Senzel this year. If he's healthy, and he was injured for a little bit, but I read up.
Loves him too.
Yeah, he obviously has the pedigree. He can run and hit home runs in that ballpark. I don't know where he's batting, but if it's anywhere in the middle of the order, The middle of the order isn't terrible with Suarez. It's not.
I don't think he's batting in the middle, but he's hurt.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so Nick Senzel, he's on Cincinnati, right? Let me see.
Yeah.
He's
And then
he's
six?
been batting 6, yeah.
Yeah, so he's not going to get a lot of runs, but he has the ability to steal bases and hit home runs in that ballpark, get some RBIs. I like him. I mean, I don't. Go ahead.
Good hitters right in front of him with Suarez and Moustakas and Castellanos. I mean, those. Yeah, he's got lots of good hitters in front of him too, so he should get some RBIs, I think.
Yeah.
But what do you like about him? Is he going to hit for power? Is he going to? You said he could steal bases, right? What is his pedigree? I can't remember. It's been so long. He was supposed to be like this great, And it's not. I'm not being rude to him because I don't think a lot of youngsters turn out to be what we thought they were going to be like immediately, anyways. And he's, maybe it's his time to actually break out. Maybe it looks like he. Go ahead.
Yeah, he's just been injured. He was injured in the minor leagues a little bit. He was injured. I don't know about last year, but I know he was in 2019. It delayed his promotion. He may have started the year with them. And what was I going to say? He's like a 25-20 guy that people think he could get there one day. And I read an article about how they changed his batting. He was doing pretty well. He wasn't doing great, but he was doing pretty well. And they changed his batting stance because they wanted him to be more closed, I think. They thought it would help him.
That's exactly why Lenny talks about him all the time. Lenny has a man crush on this guy. He plays in a lot of NL only leagues. So, Senzel is one of his favorites. So if you ever want to see Lenny, be like, hey, I'm a fellow fan of Nick Senzel.
Yeah, and I'm drafting starting pitchers in the first 6 rounds. So I got to look at guys like Nick Senzel, upside guys.
Okay.
Can we close on one note?
Of course.
What's a rule in baseball that's close to being as absolute as the law of gravity?
What rule in baseball is close to being as absolute as the law of gravity? Did you know? 4 pitches. I don't know. 4 balls is a
Whenever Jake DeGrom pitches 7 shutout innings, the Mets bullpen will come in and blow the damn thing.
Oh no!
Which they're getting ready to do right now. It's infuriating.
What's the score? Because his run support is terrible.
He can't buy a win. He's the best pitcher in baseball, and he'll be lucky to get 8 wins.
So it's bottom of the 8th, 3 on or runners on all the bases.
They're going to blow it. Yeah, they're going to blow it.
So there's 1 out, bottom of the 8th. The score is 0-0, and the bases loaded. Dude.
No, the Mets are ahead 2-0.
No, but still, his run support is terrible.
Sorry about that. It's 0-0. Like
you're right, Adam. You're right.
I thought the interesting thing about DeGrom, because everyone got that thing about him not getting wins, is in that year where he had that Cy Young level year, but he only had 8 wins. The guy that pitched next in the order was Zach Wheeler, who literally won 8 consecutive games. It's like, it's just one of those things that happen. I think
they don't score runs for DeGrom. Adam's right. They never score any runs.
I used to watch my first wife was a big Braves fan. I watched the baseball during all of the Maddox smoke years and stuff. And there seemed to be this thing that when Maddox would come up to the mound, the hitters would stop hitting. They're like, oh, the pitcher's got this. We're going to win this because Otis Nixon's going to steal second and get driven in on a ground ball, and then we'll win 1 or 2-1. I think there is a little something psychological about the team, like, oh, we're going to win this. We don't have to press.
We had the same thing in college with our ace. He just never got wins, but he was awesome. He let up 1 or 2 runs, and we just never hit for him. What's that?
What college? Just curious.
Oh, small Vassar College in upstate New York. Yeah, it's small.
Where do you live now?
Yeah, I know where that is. I'm from the Syracuse area.
Oh yeah, sure.
He does live in Los Angeles area now, right? Say where you're at.
Yeah, right outside in Santa Monica.
Lenny's son goes to Oswego, SUNY Oswego. So you probably
say that again.
Lenny's son goes to SUNY Oswego up by Syracuse.
Guess who's a graduate of SUNY Oswego?
You?
Al Roker and Mitch Hartson.
Oh,
really?
Okay. That's where he goes,
Mitch
I'm
Hartson.
a graduate of SUNY Oswego, yeah.
So I'll tell. Well, you didn't know that about Mark, right? He's in his
No.
now.
That's interesting.
Yeah, he just turned 22, and I still haven't had a beer with him. It's unbelievable.
It's time you do that. Yeah.
Can't go anywhere. So, okay, there's a mound visit. Bryce Harper's up. So what do we do now? That is just.
They brought in a left-hander.
You think they changed the pitcher because they just put in Aaron Luke for May?
Wait, we still have got to face 3 batters, right?
I don't know. I really don't know.
May only went one. It looks like May pitched. He threw 22 pitches, and he faced
Trevor May.
4 batters. So
We're talking about.
It's 3 batters, right? That you have to face 3 batters.
Yeah, but that wasn't just last year, right? Because I know the DH was just last year. That's every year, right? Yeah.
It only applied to pitchers that didn't start the inning.
Right.
So a guy could start the inning and get hooked, but if you came in the middle, you had to face 3 batters.
Okay, so we got Harper up, and we just got 1 strike against.
Loop is pitching. He's a pretty good pitcher.
Harper is underrated.
Oh, he came in with the bases loaded, or what? I like Harper too a lot.
There's 1 run in right there.
Uh-oh. Serious?
I told you they're going to blow the game. I told you that.
What am I
think he had 11 wins that year. He won the Cy Young, right?
Yeah.
I thought it was under 10, but I thought it was 10 or less. But yeah, it was very low.
And if it weren't for analytics and the devaluing of the win stat, he probably wouldn't have gotten it.
So how is the bases still loaded and they have 1 run?
Because they hit Harper with the bases loaded.
Hit by pitch.
Okay, I gotcha. It still says Harper's at bat. So
They do it every time DeGrom pitches, virtually. Every time that man pitches.
It's so
I've never
consistent.
seen anything like it in my life.
And it's been for 3.5 years.
It's like every time that man's
It's crazy.
pitching, they do that.
Still, he's the best pitcher in baseball right now.
He is.
Real Muto's up. Is he going to get it?
Yep, there it is. Game's gone.
Oh, no. No. Muto is overrated.
DeGrom's win is gone right
I'm
now.
wearing my Mets shirt today. I really hope they win.
Are you a Mets fan?
Yes, well, I don't like the Yankees, and I live here on Long Island, so I have.
Oh, good.
Yes,
I'm a Red Sox fan. I don't like the Yankees either.
I'm a Red Sox fan too.
Yeah,
They're
there's
horrible this year, but I still will not be.
Yeah,
a
they're gonna be-
fan.
I was telling Adam that I know a crazy number of Red Sox fans. A crazy number.
Yeah.
You're a
Let's
Cubs
see.
fan.
Let's see after this year if they're still popping up. I feel like a lot of them, because they won championships.
Well, yeah,
feel
we should tell Doug how it is though, because Theo comes there, wins the World Series, but he leaves you in years of debt, and then it's gonna. I think the Red Sox might finally get out of the debt that he left them in after this year. Like they might actually have some money to spend, but for the last couple of years, it's been really bad. Remember when Theo left?
The thing about it is, I have Red Sox fans. Bill Keevan, my friends. I said all the time. There was a time when I was sitting down with you 10 years ago or whatever years ago it was, and you had said I would give anything for it. And then here we are back in 2021. You're like, we're not going to be a good team for another 8 years. It's like, I remember you said you'd give anything for it. Would you give it 10 years of being bad?
Oh, man,
Yes, you would.
Boston are so spoiled.
Yeah,
But
sure.
Theo, I thought Theo was bailed out by that trade to the Dodgers, where the Dodgers took Adrian Gonzalez, and then they took they took Carl Crawford's contract.
And
And I thought,
didn't they take?
was that the same deal? And and I thought that bailed them out a bit. They were still paying like some of those salaries.
The Crawford thing.
That was huge for that. Yes, you're right. That was huge with I think Beckett went and freaking.
That's right, Beckett.
And they had but Theo left them with John Lackey and Dice K and like these just horrible.
Yeah, I'm a Theo defender. I think Lackey and Carl Crawford was not his decision. It just doesn't seem like his guy. I think it was Lucchino to market.
I mean, I don't really understand how Crawford got so bad after leaving the Rays.
He got
It's like
hurt.
the Rays did that with other players too. They did it with BJ Upton. Like they were very good on the Rays, and then just no.
I'm a fan of Theo too. I like Theo. I think he's the best at what he does. And it's like if it was great for the Cubbies, great for the Red Sox, 2 of the teams that have not won the World Series in the longest time. And so I think it's worth a few years of bad.
Yeah, I don't have any problem with it. It's
Especially for those fan bases.
Yeah, the only thing that I complain about for the Cubs is I would like them to try to field a better team. I don't need them to win. I just like them to try to field a better team. That's the thing. It's like to go into the season with 5 pitchers who average 89 miles an hour in their fastball, and the idea that Jack Peterson's going to be an answer in the outfield is like, yeah, that's not a good team. It's like, not, I grew up on some of the worst Cubs teams, and maybe that ever were in the 70s. So that was the ones I cut my teeth on, and they were horrible.
Okay, look.
But I've been.
They're done.
We're done.
Gregorius Harris Fly.
Yeah, it's 10 o'clock. Let's call it a night.
No, I said the Mets are done, but yes, we can go.
No, I'm done too.
Okay.
Adam,
you have a good time?
Adam, nice to meet you.
Yeah, it was great. Absolutely.
I hope
Yeah,
you
I hope you
Same
come
to all
back.
of you.
You're a friend of mine. Now you're a friend of the network. So
Fantastic. No, that's
Yeah.
great.
we can tell you about what we do on other times, whatever. But I know you're West Coast. The best time to be on the network is 9 o'clock in the morning, Monday through Friday, which is 6 o'clock your time. So it's probably not likely. But you know,
Alberto's Tacos. That's my favorite in LA. Alberto's Tacos. Do you ever go there?
I don't know. I don't get out much, to be honest. It's such a waste for me to live in LA.
you're saying you're thinking about moving.
Yeah. Yeah, back to Cape Cod.
Boston.
We're in the Cape, Orleans.
Where's Cape
Don't
Cod?
know. Massachusetts. But I love Dennis, but really anywhere.
Yeah, I like Chatham a lot. My wife and I went to the Cape 5 straight years for a week each year. And she don't want to go to the Cape now. She's gotten tired of it. I never get tired of it.
No, I've gone there like
Love
36 out of the last 39 years. My family started going when I was born, so.
Yeah.
Cape Cod League Baseball, too.
Yeah, there you go.
Well,
I'm going to sign off, Andy.
Okay, bye, you guys. I'm going to Douglas.
All right.
Adam, nice to meet you. We'll see you again.
Yeah, we'll see you at another
very
thing.
same.
We do this on Mondays.
Right, Andy.
You're welcome to come back when it is, but sometime I'm going to be on your show or something soon, so we'll talk.
Okay,
That'd be
Douglas,
fantastic.
Stop the show. I want to ask you if you
Stops the show, get off, so we'll talk offline.
well, it doesn't
All right.
matter.